I'm going to tell you a story about my friend Rachel. I'm really lucky. When I was younger, I had trouble making friends with girls, which was problematic because I went to an all-girls school from kindergarten through 12th grade. But then I went away to summer camp one year, and I met all of these girls who were like super cool and super nice and liked me, which was not something I had experienced prior. And Rachel was the coolest. She was a Jewrican, which I had never met before. She was a Jewish Puerto Rican girl. She lived in New York City. She wore red lipstick and red dresses. You would not think at summer camp there was a lot of time to wear red dresses, but she worked it. And she was amazing, and I loved her, and I just thought she was everything cool. And then she invited me to come visit her in New York City, and that was amazing. And I just feel really lucky to have met Rachel and some other women like Rachel as I got older. And Rachel's the kind of friend that everyone, I don't know if you know that you need Rachel as your friend, but you do, and I hope you have a Rachel. She's the person that will look at your outfit and say, like that, and then you know you have to change. Even though everyone else was like, oh, you look great, you look great. You get to Rachel, and she's like, okay, I got it. I told her a story once about how I was at my hair cutter in Lancaster, and my hair was wet, and they were cutting my hair, and she was like, oh, which side do you part it on? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And Rachel was like, you don't know what side you part your hair on? And I was like, She was like, Okay, I'll remember next time. And so Rachel is, she's an only child. Her mother got sick when we were in our 20s, and she had a very long illness and passed away, and it was my job to go to the funeral home and be there. But when the family went to the cemetery, I was to go back to the apartment and set it up for Shiva, which in the Jewish faith, the Jewrican faith, we sit Shiva after funerals. And so I was given very specific instructions by Rachel to not let the doorman know what I was doing. There was a whole rent control situation that was, it was bad, and all I know is that the night before Rachel's mom's funeral, I had an anxiety dream which involved elevators that went sideways. And I showed up, I went upstairs, I did what I was supposed to do in the apartment. Jews, you wash your hands before you come in from the cemetery. So I went to put the bowl of water outside the door, and I locked myself out. So now the whole family is coming home from synagogue. The meat platters are about to be delivered. I have the water, but I am locked out of the apartment, and I have to go tell the doorman to let me in. It was so scary, and it all worked out, but Rachel's the kind of friend that you want to be there for, and somehow I turned her mom's funeral into a Lucille Ball episode, but it still thankfully worked out. A couple years later, I was the matron of honor at her wedding. Jews, we say prayers. We were doing the prayer to honor her mother, who was no longer with us, and the wedding coordinator from the venue tried to interrupt and move us along because we were behind schedule, and it was I who stood up and told Frank, the wedding planner, it wasn't his real name, but it might as well have been, that we needed some more time. And everyone in the room was like, wow, Jamie handled that. And so to be able to be there for Rachel was really important to me. A few years later, my father passed away. We were sitting Shiva in Pittsburgh. She got on a train from New York City to Philadelphia. She took a plane from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. She was there for the funeral. There was a snowstorm. It was just a mess. But I had been there for her, and she had been there for me. A couple years later, my mother-in-law passed away. I was 8 months pregnant, and Rachel came to the funeral so that my daughter could sit on her lap, because there was no room on my lap for my daughter. Rachel's the kind of friend you want. Rachel's the kind of friend you probably need. Small world. I lost Rachel for about 10 years. We met in summer camp in 1990, pre-Facebook, pre-Gmail. I also got an invite to Gmail, FYI. So, you know, things happen. You go to college, you get a job, you move on. I mean, I sort of knew she was in DC. I was living on that very small island of Manhattan. You know, I didn't think about it a lot. I thought maybe I should try to get in touch with Rachel, but And one day I was walking across Lower Broadway and I was running an errand for work at a job I didn't particularly like. I was just happy to be out of the office, but also miserable in my job. And I look up and this woman's walking towards me, and these are the thoughts I have in very quick succession. I like that orange vest. Why don't I have an orange vest? Holy shit, that's Rachel wearing the orange vest. I found Rachel on the streets of Lower Manhattan, pre-Facebook, pre-email. I don't want to think about what it would have happened to my life if I hadn't run into her. It's a small world.